My name is Valerie Lawrence, and I work for Saint Alphonsus Corporate Health and Wellness, just right over here on Curtis. And I'm here to talk to you today on Wendell's invitation about how to keep yourselves healthier, happier, more productive at work with nutrition. And so I tried to take a giant subject and put it into one slide deck, and I can tell you that there's potentially too much information in here, and that any one of these slides I could go on for quite a long time, as evidenced by my husband. He will be sure to say, yes, that is true. She can go on quite a long time on any of these subjects. So anyway, speaking of my husband, I do live with him in Emmett, and we live on 5 acres. I'm crazy about food. I'm crazy about all aspects of food. So growing it, eating it, cooking it, talking about it. It's a dream job that I get to talk about food with people all day long. And so with that said, I'm going to start having fun now, and feel free to ask me any questions along the way if you want to stop me. Might be like a rolling train, but do something, I'll notice. So today we're going to talk about why you ought to choose nutritious foods and some mindful food selection, how you can know what's the better choice of what you have, planning ahead and the importance of that, and last but not least, hydration. And there will be some other things interspersed in there. Frequent mentions of vegetables and fiber could occur. So what you eat matters. What you had yesterday to eat, what you had many yesterdays ago, 20 years ago, you're wearing today. They make your cells in your body, and you become what you eat. You literally are what you eat. So the great news about that, and the sad news about that, is you are what you eat, right? So the good news about that is that your body's very forgiving, and you can reverse things. The chronic conditions that are reversible from lifestyle are all our biggest killers. They're heart disease and stroke, some cancers, and diabetes, all preventable. Obesity is definitely preventable. And so I'm hoping to inspire you to want to think about that. Energy might be the biggest reason to eat well. Not just that you don't want to die from a disease that could be prevented, but you'd like to be energetic, and you're going to be at work for however many hours you're going to be at work anyway. You can slog through it, or you can sail through it. And I don't know about you, I prefer to sail. I definitely know when I'm not eating right and I'm at work. Anybody notice that for themselves? You're like, dang, I don't feel good. This is hard. It makes your hard work harder. So anyway, I could sum up everything with this one slide, which is eat less of what's on the left and more of what's on the right. But what's on the left is processed foods, sodas, yes. That's the thing you notice in there, huh?
That's so good.
Oh, so good. Oh, so bad though, too. And I want to say that so there's no bad foods. Me saying that's kind of a bad thing on its own. It's an 80-20 prospect. So what you do 80% of the time really matters, and your body is forgiving enough and good at detoxification enough to handle 20% of not great choices. So if you currently have it flip-flopped the wrong way, where 80% of your choices are not that healthful and 20% are healthful, that's going to have detrimental effects to your slogging or sailing through the day and to your general long-term health. So more foods on the right. I went to a presentation from a scientist from MD Anderson, and he could have summed up his whole thing is it doesn't matter what you do as long as you add several cups of vegetables in a day. Like, that's the main band-aid, that if you just did nothing else and you had a few cups of vegetables, you would be stopping the insult to your body in huge ways. And the reason for that is because of antioxidants, which is another conversation all by itself. So some of what we need, we know as macronutrients. You might have heard them called macros. And they're carbohydrates, which look like foods like this. It's pastas and some fruits and, all fruits, vegetables, and got bread and grains. And they're for right now energy. And then you have protein, which helps keep you full. It comes from foods like seeds and nuts, which people frequently don't think about. They usually associate protein with meat, and that is a good source if it's lean, and especially good if it's grass-fed, and really good if it's grass-fed and you killed it yourself in the mountains. Omega-3 fatty acids, like, it's great with that. And even our Idaho trout has omega-3 fatty acids, so you don't have to get fancy salmon. You can go catch a brook trout. Anyway, and then so fat. Fat makes you feel fuller. It helps keep things in your stomach longer, and your nutrients go into your body a little more slowly. And so all of that just is comfortable for your body. So it takes all of these things, and hopefully you're getting 3 of those in each time you're eating. Hopefully you're having a blend of carbohydrates, protein, and fat when you eat. We also need micronutrients, and the micronutrients are minerals and vitamins. So in here you can see that vitamin E's, these are some of the big ones that our bodies use a lot of. Vitamin E comes in things like avocados and almonds and orange foods. Vitamin K in green leafy foods, and vitamin D, there's that salmon again, and mushrooms, but you can see that it's a lot in the dairy as well. Vitamin C, that's not a vitamin that we store, and so you need to eat that one every day. And that's the good for your skin, because I know you want beautiful skin, but it's also good for cellular repair and that kind of thing. It has antioxidants to spare, and so it's kind of a short shelf life in your body. You need to replace B's and C's daily. But what I know about you is that you are the expert of you, and you know for certain that being a human means you're going to get hungry. And you've gotten hungry today, and you're going to get hungry tomorrow. And so the most important thing you can do is to make sure that you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. An afternoon snack is a fabulous idea so that you can choose well at dinner. And just in case you ignored breakfast and lunch, which happens to some people. I never miss a meal. I'm not sure how people can go without meals, but they do that. And then it can be assisted by shopping weekly and prepping. So eating at regular intervals is going to do several really good things for you. It's going to keep your energy up. It's going to help you control your blood sugar, because if you don't, you kind of do this all day and you're always catching up. You have some energy, now you have no energy. Now you have some energy, now you have no energy, instead of this nice stabilization that you're looking for. And super important if you have prediabetes or diabetes too. Prevents you from overeating, because no matter what, your body's going to make sure it gets enough nutrients. And so if you haven't been eating enough, about 5 o'clock, and you get home at the end of the day, everything's going to look good to you. And you won't know why, but you can't stop eating. Has that ever happened to anyone? The pantry, you open the pantry, you look in, and you start eating. You're just going to have a little snack, and the next thing you know, you've eaten half the pantry, and you're making dinner, and now you don't have any room for that. But it it doesn't prevent your concentration, it improves your concentration. And the ideal is to have 4 to 6 meals and snacks in a day, starting with breakfast. So organizing that night before makes a big difference. Anybody ever done overnight oats? No. I'm going to send Wendell a link to overnight oats. That's one of the simplest things I know how to do, and you can make them your own. Anyway, I won't go into the recipe because there are a lot more, but yeah, it can be as simple as grabbing an apple, carbohydrate, and peanut butter, protein, and fat, so that you have something well-rounded to get you out the door. Can be as easy as getting yogurt and nuts, yogurt being the carbohydrate, nuts being the protein. there is protein in carbohydrate. And when I gave a presentation and I used yogurt as a source of carbohydrate, they were like, what is going on? Because we know that there's protein in there. Most foods have all of those, in them, or a combination. But it is carbohydrate with protein in it. And then a pear, so for any kind of fruit and cheese, another good way to start that. Don't start, if I'm gonna say a don't, this might be the biggest don't. Don't start with cereal and milk. Yeah. So the thing about cereal and milk is a carbohydrate with no fiber in it, and it's just going to hit your bloodstream like that within 20 minutes. And same with the cereal. Did you ever notice that when you ate cereal for breakfast, you were starving 2 hours later? Maybe. So, yeah, it doesn't do anything good for you, and mostly what it does is it makes you crave carbohydrates for the rest of the day. So start with something a little more filling that's got some fiber. For lunch, you've got a lot of options, and I know one of them because Wendell gave me a little tap on the shoulder and said, hey, these guys, you know where they go? They go over here to Maverick. And so I visited Maverick on this day, and we'll talk about that. But you have a lot of choices. So if you were to go to, say, a restaurant, the very best way you could use your 30-minute lunch is that what you have, 30 minutes-ish? Okay, so if you have a 30-minute lunch and you stand in line, or first you have to wander around the restaurant, and then you have to pay for it, and anyway, all of that just took half of your lunchtime, and now you have to gobble it up and go. Not going to digest your foods very well. Calling ahead, if that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and you can get some good choices. You're looking for things that are explained as grilled, or but not fried, and not coated, and not with lots of special sauce on it that doesn't have a disclosure of how many calories are in there or fat grams, which are plenty. A nice sandwich can really turn into not such a nice sandwich with just a little bit of secret sauce. You get fast food, so you can go to fast food, same thing. Do you have an upscale fast food around here?
Yeah, Panera.
Panera, yeah, that is good. That's upscale. And you're only paying like maybe $2 more for that privilege of having whole, good ingredients. It's worth the $2. You could probably find that, somewhere else in your budget if you wanted to shave it off somewhere else. So I really love Baja Fresh, and I guess that's a little bit a ways from here, but that same thing, they have fresh ingredients. So you're looking for fresh and whole and not lots of sodium. You can order things fresco and whatnot. Your C-store, your convenience store over here, Maverick. I want to look at this one. So Maverick, there's the bomb right in the middle. But below that, I'm guessing it's going to kind of hit you that way too. Like, whoa, I just had a sandwich. Now I can't move. But yeah, there's good sandwiches that look fresh made underneath. The prices were decent. I was really impressed with what they had over there. I expected to have to search, and I found like 2-3 coolers that had very decent choices in them. So they've got cheese sticks and fruit and yogurts and all that. Nuts and seeds. These are pictures from right over there. They were decent prices too. Corn nuts, contrary to popular thought, are not nuts, and they aren't really the kind of nuts that you want to hang out, have in your desk for later or whatever. Seeds are a really good choice too. Can even act as a replacement for a meal. A couple of handfuls of seeds hits you differently than a couple of handfuls of nuts, because you never want to stop eating the nuts, and you can stop eating seeds. It's some sort of anomaly thing. Bars, if you're going to go for a bar, just one and done, then you're looking for things that fit these guidelines, roughly. So carbohydrates under 30 grams. You don't want something that's super high in carbohydrate. You just want a little bit for now. You do want some good protein, which means over 10 grams. You would like some fiber in there because you're trying to hit a fiber target of 25 to 30 grams in a day, and for lots of reasons. I could do a whole series on just fiber. Fat under 20 grams, that's a pretty big budget for that, and then 200-ish calories. The original fast food, it's what you brought from home. So apples are great. Vegetables, great. I wandered into the break room downstairs when I came in a couple weeks ago, and I had a perfect specimen sitting at a table. I didn't get the specimen's name, but he was eating his lunch, and it looked really good because I was looking for lunches that didn't look so good, right? So I asked him if I could approach, and sure enough, he said yes, I could. I asked him what he's eating. He's eating chicken parmesan from last night's dinner. He had some noodles with like zoodles underneath. He was like a plant. He was like a nutrition plant in the break room. Yes, I happen to have a perfect lunch right here. And then this was a sandwich. You can't really tell, but it's a sandwich. And then he told me that he already ate most of his vegetables. He's got cold packs in there to keep his lunch safe because you need that. And then this was the clincher. He says, and this isn't coffee in the thermos. I was like, what's in the thermos? Bone broth. He's got bone broth in there that he and his wife made. So I was very impressed. And yeah, so he looked like he had plenty of energy. And I'm guessing that he does. And he says he can't eat like he used to eat when he was a kid. And that's a true statement. We can, well, so it's kind of true, but we can eat like that. But if we do, you feel it more, when you get on in years or, become a woman of my age or Wendell. So, Wendell is older than you think. I just found out. So these are some of my lunches I took pictures of, and these are days when I actually had some processed foods in them because I want you to know that I do eat them and they are convenient. This is spaghetti squash in a little deal, and this is a bean and cheese burrito. This is yogurt with nuts and berries. I have what do I have in there? I have carrots and sun butter. Have you ever tried sun butter? Sunflower seed butter? Ooh, it's good. Yeah, so really good with carrots and celery and jicama, anything. It's really good with a spoon. So anyway, you can see that there's fruits and vegetables and some other representations of other food groups. This is how it makes it easy to eat like that if you do batch cooking. You can do your own soups. You can cut up vegetables ahead of time. You can do sheet pans of vegetables, sheet pans of protein foods, and now you've got them and you can have mix and match all through the rest of your week. This is spaghetti squash, and I don't actually like it as on its own as noodles. I really prefer it just by itself with lemon and a little bit of butter. But yeah, you can get prepared. And how you can get prepared is if you do some grocery shopping once a week. And you get your fresh things once a week, and maybe your general merchandise and the shelf stable things every other week, every 2 weeks, kind of a big batch or a big box store, and then you just kind of supplement with your own neighborhood store. Some tips for grocery shopping: go in with a list. Ideally, you'd go in with a Mediterranean shopping list, which you can find online at oldwayspt.org. And they have this things, because you can't see what's in the grocery store when you haven't purchased it before. There's some sort of phenomenon going on there too, where you just look and you're like, oh, I don't see anything. And you pick up, say you're in the produce department, and you pick up an apple and oranges and bananas because that's all that was in produce. So when you have a list, it makes you look for those things. Listonic is a really smart shopping app, And you can share it with your spouse, with your friends, whatever, with your son who's out of state, for instance. Shop the perimeter, stay with the fresh foods, and stock up on things like beans, frozen veggies, nuts, berries. Buying produce in season. I frequently hear people say I can't afford to eat healthy. I kind of don't believe that, because whole foods are the original peasant food. This is where our foods began. And while we get subsidies on corn syrup and the sweetened things, when it comes to real foods that you want to spend your money on, the whole foods are where it's at. So buying produce in season makes it inexpensive, and you have a lot of variety. It will be things that are in their peak. But also, however you can get your vegetables, whether it's in a can or it's frozen, like so, or I do this all the time. I have frozen broccoli all the time. I literally reach in and plunk it in my container that looks like this, that I'm going to do a little Buddha bowl for you later and show you how quickly you can put your own together. So anyway, and cost savings happen when you are shopping in season. Snacks at work, if you have them, do you have a place? You must have a place at work, in your car, somewhere that you can store your food, your good food, your energetic food, the food that's going to make it so you can sail through that mid-afternoon slump. Hard-boiled eggs are good choices, cheese with fruit. They do hard-boiled eggs for you up ahead of time. Has anybody seen those blister packs that you can just buy them already done? They're in the deli section. And they're good. You wonder how in the world they could keep them good, but they're good. They're no peel, no fuss, no muss. You can add them to your salads and soups and Buddha bowls. So yogurt, sorry.
How many eggs are you supposed to eat a day?
So that is one of those controversial all over things, but almost anywhere will agree that if you're having in the neighborhood of 1 per day, which you could, kind of structure that 2-3 times a week, whatever. But if you're having about 1 egg a day, that's fine. That's good. So that's a cholesterol question, but it's not the kind of cholesterol that you really have to be worried about. It's really your own that you reabsorb. And a better way to address that is fiber, which I'm glad you gave me opportunity to say it. Fiber is truly the miracle, the magic bullet for weight loss. It's the magic bullet for lowering your cholesterol and blood sugar control. It's good for blood pressure. It's all kinds of things. So that 30 grams, 25 to 30 grams in a day, really important. Which means you'll be eating fibrous foods for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. It means that you never have a meal that you're not eating some kind of plant. But so anyway, you can keep tuna packets. They have really good flavored tuna packets now, and packable. Try and have 2 food groups when you're having a snack. This is the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. It's not the My Plate, and the reason it's not the My Plate, which is our government plate, is because I really think that this belongs there. That water belongs at your meals, not milk or other beverages that have calories in them.
So no Tito's?
No what?
Tito's?
Tito's. I don't know what a Tito is.
Oh.
No, that'd have to come some other time, not during the meal. So, yeah, I guess that might work for breakfast. Mimosas or breakfast. No. But yeah, so your healthy eating plate, you really should have water with every meal. And if you're going to have a beverage that has calories in it, then strategize for how you might do that best later in the day. You can see vegetables take up most of it. Vegetables, protein, whole grains, and fruits. I really like that healthy oils are on the plate because we're not trying to be low fat, we're trying to be good fat. Good fats are great for you. They help remove the bad fats in your body. So don't try and be low fat. You could even be in the closer, like a Mediterranean diet. There's 7 tablespoons of olive oil is the recommendation in a day. That's 700 calories coming from oil. We go, what? What's that about? But anyway, it is actually a reasonable thing to do. Keep it simple, and you can have it in many ways. So you can have it on a plate, and that meal looks like this on a plate. Fruit is for dessert. If you can train your mouth to taste fruit as the sweetest you need, then that's a reasonable dessert. It will take some encouragement for you to walk back from ice cream or some other treat that you're used to. Cake, not the same. So you can see that half the plate here is greens and non-starchy vegetables, and then there's some starch in the form of brown rice there, and then a healthy protein, the salmon. You're looking for about 4 ounces, or about the size of your hand. You could also have that same plate in a bowl, and this brings me to, I think I'm doing all right, brings me to stuff I made at home and stuff I have cut at home. And so your base, if we're looking at the base, rice, whole grains, pasta, quinoa, or barley, I have some barley made up in here. It looks like oatmeal. It's full of beta-glucans, which doesn't that just make you hungry all by itself? That one fact. Oh my gosh, give me some of those beta-glucans. But there's rice. This is white rice. I don't think there's anything wrong with having white rice if you're having it in the right amount, which will be in the neighborhood of about 1/2 to 2/3 of a cup. If that's your starch that you're having in your bowl, that's not a problem. With that, you can put anything you want. Nobody's going to eat this, so I'm using my fingers. I might eat it. So, yeah, come to think of it. So, I really love red or purple cabbage. It's wonderful, and it's great in tacos. It's crunchy. It's great in salads. You can saute it. You can actually use it in tacos sauteed or fresh. I have also green cabbage, and always have cut up lime or lemon for the garnish afterwards. What do we have in here? Avocado. Avocado's great in there. It's sticky. I'm not going to try and put it in there right now. And then this is some chicken breasts that I had, or thighs that I did last night. And these aren't carrots. They're actually just thinly sliced, almost cooked through sweet potatoes. And so I would put that in there. Oh, I already been in there. And then, garbanzo beans or any kind of beans could go in there. It doesn't matter that you don't have to cook them on your own. And I'm a big fan of black beans. I did not cut this, but if I had, it would be in the bowl. And cucumber, you could see how you can make this really big, bigger than that bowl would be. And then you can add anything you want for, like lemon juice and olive oil are the staples that I have all the time. Soy sauce. This is the low sodium, but tamari is really good, and it's gluten-free, which why there is wheat in soy sauce, I don't know, but they do put wheat starch in regular soy sauce. So this one does have that. Tamari doesn't. It's just straight soy sauce. It's the best you've ever tasted. So your base is going to be your starch. Then you have non-starchy vegetables of any kind you like, and if they're cut up ahead of time or roasted ahead of time, you can make variety happen all week long. Protein, any kind of lean meat, beans, cheese, tofu. I think everything belongs on your plate. There's nothing that you can't have. Dressing, olive oil, lemon, tamari, soy sauce, any of those are great. You could eat very easily all week long. So water, we know how important it is. Your muscles need it. It actually delivers the oxygen to your muscles. We start sweating a lot around this time of year. Our bodies go through about 1 liter or 2 per day. And so that comes to about 1/2 gallon. So that's just to break even. So if you're a little behind the 8 ball when it comes to hydration already, you want to drink even more than that 1/2 gallon. If you work outside, you really want to make sure you're having at least like glass an hour, or you make sure that every time you have a break, you drink quite a bit. Muscles need it, boosts productivity, removes toxins, good for your joints. I've been seeing people recently as a nutritionist that have gout, and they're young men, and I'm flabbergasted because it was not a young man's disease. And it wasn't something, it's uric acid buildup in your toes and joints, in your knees. And it's very uncomfortable, very painful. And part of what might bring it on, besides rich food, is not enough water. So it also helps with your energy, and that's logging or sailing, and which one you're going to do that.
What are your thoughts on like catering if people are outside?
So yeah, it's not great. Even the ones that don't have sugar is not great. Like electrolytes, you're looking for, I have a slide coming up. I'll talk a little bit more about that. They're mostly on energy drinks, but in general, it's better to just eat good food. It's okay to salt your food a little bit. Don't eat processed foods that are over salted. You just want to eat foods that have the potassium and the calcium and the things that you're trying to replace through what's lost in sweat. But Gatorade's not the best one. You'd be better off making your own if you wanted to go for a true electrolyte change, true electrolyte replacement. These are some signs of dehydration. So you can be dizzy or lightheaded, headache, tiredness, dry mouth, lips, and eyes, not peeing or having very dark yellow pee, dry skin, feeling dizzy, rapid heartbeat, rapid breathing, sunken eyes, sleepiness, lack of energy, confusion, and fainting. And so sometimes when you're like that, you're so out of it, you don't even know you are like that. So this is where that if you see something, say something comes into play. Your friend hasn't been drinking, your buddy, your team member hasn't been drinking water all day, and you've been noticing that, hey, you drinking your water? Or you're a good example yourself, and you're carrying around your jug all the time, making people thirsty just by drinking your water. Dehydration is a big problem, and especially this time of year. Energy drinks don't help that at all. In fact, but they do come with benefits, and here's the benefits. So you can have a rapid heartbeat, increased blood pressure, anxiety, sleep problems, digestive issues, dehydration, and a free ride in an ambulance to the emergency center. And it's a really good place for finding added sugars. 45 to 62 grams in just one serving, which is double what you're supposed to have in an entire day. In fact, it could be about 400 calories if you're not getting the kind that kill your microbiome, the no sugar kind. So it's not your best choice, and it doesn't really bolster your energy. It steals your energy. It's a bit of a cheat on your adrenals, and it is increasing your irritability and fatigue ultimately. So it's a short bump and a long drop. So better afternoon energy, if you're looking for a quick fix, might be one of these things. You have a juicy fruit, or you drink some more water, because a lot of times that's just all you need to improve your energy. Matcha green tea is really good, and tea hits your system differently with its caffeine than coffee does. It's got a buffer called theanine, L-theanine, and it doesn't jangle your nerves. So you might give it a try sometime. There's a whole art to matcha tea drinking. They even have matcha tea whisks, and you can get super high-end expensive powder for like $25 for this much. But I buy the cheap stuff at Vitacost, and it's organic and it's powdered, and I keep it at my desk at work. $6. B complex, you might just need a few more B vitamins. And the B complex makes sure that you're getting all of them that you need. Your nervous system really appreciates B vitamins. You're about at the end of your day and you arrive home, and you might feel like this little guy who is too tired to eat. So I know you guys have felt this way, because I felt this way, where you're like, wow, I'm too tired to eat. I'm too tired to fix something. I don't know. I'm too hungry to go to sleep. Like you've bonked, you've hit the wall for sure. So the thing that you can do to avoid this feeling is that prepping ahead, making sure you have done that shopping and prepping, and you've just got something that you can assemble as easily as this. I put these together and talked about them in probably less than 2 minutes. That's how long it would take you to make your dinner. 2 minutes. It's a nice, I have these chopped up all the time. I just love that. So think about it for yourself. You might have noticed there was a big push for fruits and vegetables. This is the message. Whole foods, fruits and vegetables, eat them. That is the best way I know to keep your energy up and to keep you fending off the chronic disease and keep you around living a healthy, happy, energetic life. And then just a last thought, look out for yourself, because you're probably the only one that's going to. Look out for your team member, because maybe they're in the same boat too. And it feels like maybe judgmental, or maybe that you're getting into somebody else's business. If you're saying, wow, I've noticed you've had chalupas every day this week. Are you thinking about a salad anytime soon? Maybe not that sarcastic. But, like there might be a softer way for you to say, hey, maybe I'm going to bring you a salad tomorrow. So mindful choices, whole foods, and water, those are the keys to good nutrition. And I thank you for your time. That was it for me, and I hope that you got 1 or 2 tidbits out of there.